Hi guys, is it too early for Fool of the Year or even Fool of the Week? Because Tory MP Heather Wheeler, who I've mentioned before on the channel, was talking absolute twaddle when she appeared on the Politics Live show. The issue brought up was flooding, and Heather had a wonderful piece of advice for the public on how to avoid having their homes literally underwater. Second, when the point of 2023 being the hottest year on record was highlighted, you will not believe her response. Have a listen to this.
Are you disappointed about the lack of funds more broadly that have gone into flood defences? Because the government's committed to spend £5.2 billion, which is a lot of money, on flood and coastal erosion programmes between 21 and 2027. Now, we looked at the figures, or the National Audit Office gave us the figures, and it looks as if there has been an underspend of £310 million in those first 2 years. That must be infuriating for you.
It's infuriating how long things take to happen. That's what's infuriating. It took 5 years to get the Derby scheme going. They still haven't finished building it, which is really infuriating. But I mean, I'm hopeful that EA money, the Environment Agency money, will be kept and the Treasury won't claw it back, because it's clear that we need more schemes, but we need to find a better way of getting them built.
Right. Has the government really taken this issue seriously? Because unless you are, I mean, there are more constituencies suffering as a result, but unless you've experienced it sort of firsthand, do you think there really is a serious enough approach to the damage?
I mean, two things. I mean, you know, I can give you another example. So one of my other villages, Hatton, had a massive flood defence scheme, but it was part paid for by the Nestle factory that's there, because it was in the Nestle factory's interest. So it was a partnership between the private sector and the public sector, and that saved over 110 properties being flooded, and of course it saved the factory being flooded, which was really important. You know,
What? This is the solution? That what people should do is relocate to a factory or near a factory, because perhaps that factory will have a scheme put in place to protect it from flooding, and if you're nearby, you'll benefit from that. So people shouldn't actually rely on the Tories, because the Tories don't give a crap. Rely probably on your local factory, because they'll actually invest in protecting themselves from flooding, and you'll benefit indirectly. Did you actually hear what she said? Well, this is a wonderful scheme, because it's the Nestle factory protected itself and people in the local area were protected indirectly. See, we don't need the government to actually invest. We don't need the government to take the initiative here. Just rely on the private sector to do it. This is the Tory mantra: rely on the private sector. Outsource responsibility onto somebody else. That's how people can avoid having their homes flooded. Relocate. Check with the factory first of all. Do you have a plan to deal with flooding? Yes. Okay, I'm going to relocate nearby. How close do I need to be nearby in order to protect myself from flooding? This is beyond ridiculous, but it gets worse.
There's hundreds of jobs there. But what I would like to see is we will get these public meetings with the Environment Agency. We will get the statistics. And it can't just be that this 30 hours is a one-off, because if it is, then we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Well,
but
but there are areas that are having this time and time again. It isn't one. I mean, just to show you, this has just been confirmed by the European Union, their climate committee service. BBC News 2023 confirmed as world's hottest year on record.
As we had snow in London yesterday.
Well, is she really this stupid? This is my question. Is she really this stupid? She doesn't know the difference between the weather and the climate. She doesn't understand the difference between a day in 2024 and the entirety of 2023. Like, just think about it for a moment. Her response to 2023 being the hottest year on record, according to scientists, experts within the European Union, was, but it was snowing yesterday in London. These people are in positions of power. But there's also another problem. There's no pushback from journalists. Why wasn't the journalist saying, what the heck is wrong with you? Do you have a functioning brain? Do you understand the difference between the weather and the climate? Do you understand the difference between 2024 and 2023? Do you understand the difference between a day and a year? What is wrong with you? How the hell did you become an MP? How are you able to tie your own shoelaces? These are the questions that need to be asked of these people. Who the hell voted for you? Do they know that you're this stupid? Do they know that you don't have a functioning brain? Do they know that you have these problems? Really? Sorry to get so animated, guys, but this is really beyond the beyonds. This is just insane. You have an MP in a position of power who doesn't know the difference between the weather and the climate, doesn't know the difference between a day and a year, and whose response to, well, if your house has been flooded, why don't you move to an area where there's probably a business who cares about their business not being flooded, and perhaps you can benefit from that plan that they have too. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.